Sorry about the last recording. Um, I just wanted to, fulfill the quota of doing this uh every day or pretty much every day. Just like a consistent schedule. I just want to do it at least once every day. I mean, maybe someday I'll have multiple rant videos in a day. I don't think I ever will. I'll probably be employed and I already don't want to do that while unemployed, so um yeah, no, that I was just having a really rough day yesterday. I'm not gonna go into the details because personal shit, but um, yeah, yesterday was a fucking bitch. I shouldn't say that. I don't mean that. I don't mean to demean women with my comments. I am a woman lover. I do also like men, but I have a woman in my life that I love more than I love men. So, also men suck. I'm sorry. It's like obviously I'm not gonna say all men because it's not literally all men, but the dudes who get insecure at the sentiment of all men do probably fit the description of most men, but I'm still gonna say most men. But like most men suck. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna go into a whole society debate bullshit like rant. I'm just here to talk about I mean, the last point it has a little bit to do with insecurity, but I don't really care to do all that like identity politics and stuff like that, especially not on like a medium like this. Um, but speaking of videos, kind of like that depressing ass last one. Uh, this channel used to be called something else, and I think there's still a couple channels. I might like deactivate them or like delete them after this video. I don't know, it depends on how motivated I am to do anything like that. I'm still kind of down in the dumps, especially from yesterday, but not feeling the greatest. But maybe I'll delete those fucking channels that are like linked to this pretty much. But this channel used to be called something else. Um it used to be by a different name, and I used to make different content. Uh, I used to. I mean, back when I was younger, I say that like I'm like old as shit. I'm still 21, but um, a little bit younger. I was making content that like at the time I was really happy with, and in like the style of, not only the style of content that I was making, um, fit the style of content that I was watching at the time. I was editing at like a basic level, but it was still kind of like keeping up with the style and level of editing of the types of videos I was watching at the time. And they used to be, if I'm remembering correctly, I haven't watched those videos in a while, and if not, I think I might have deleted them. Um, but uh this channel and my other channel that I used to use, both um I used to have this style of commentary. It wasn't a commentary channel, don't get me wrong, but like the style of comedy or commentary that was just not great. I didn't really. I was a dumb kid. I mean, even like compared to like a year ago, I feel like a whole different human. Um, I've just done so much like bad content where like I've said bad things, I have made bad jokes, and they were all in, you know, the what would you call it? They were all in the spirit of fun at the time, I guess. Um, Not really knowing what I was like saying or what I was doing was wrong, and I've said some. Don't get me wrong. Even before I started making videos when I was an even dumber kid, I've said some horrible shit. I've done some horrible shit. Obviously, I regret like everything that I've done and said, but um yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird cuz like the second topic says, I used to have that like edge lord phase or that edge I used to be like an edge lord, making just like s- I mean bottom of the barrel style jokes and really weird jokes to my friends and at the time. And I guarantee if I talk to them to this day, they're probably still making the same style of jokes. They probably never grew up, like another one of the topics, but no, I used to make gaming videos, and while they were fun to make, the feeling that I would get when I made the videos was the purpose for them was to gain popularity, even though I was never really a fan of the thought of being popular, because I was never popular in school. I was the stinky loser that everybody stayed away from in school or made fun of. But um but like the concept of being popular always has been like a weird concept. I don't know if I like it. I don't think about it. I don't want to ever be popular in my life. But at the time, I was kind of doing it so that like, oh, maybe, I'll get viewers if I make this game video, or maybe I'll get viewers if I do this style of commentary over this video, or if I do this comedy style on this video, and like I play these different games. Like it kind of was for views at the time, and going back and looking at the videos, I still to this day think like the videos that I made. Maybe I just have a large sense of pride, but I still think that the way the videos are edited are decently well made compared to what most slop is out today. Um, but other than my editing skills, going back and seeing them every now and then. Again, I haven't watched them in a while because I'm pretty sure I deleted them. But if I didn't, I'll probably go back and watch after this episode, just to see if I'm still right in my opinion. But like, other than my editing skills, which were basic bottom of the barrel editing skills, but it was still okay and still kind of holds up. The content itself is just awful. Like it's either me screaming with one of my friends or the jokes that I make are just kind of like on the edge of like why would you joke about that? That's just weird. And I guess to go to the second point, like early on, whether it's, you're just coming out of your years of being uh, a legal child, or, you're still a kid, um jokes, especially if you're someone who grew up in surrounded by the the social surroundings that I had, whether that be like my location, the way I grew up, my family problems, blah blah blah. If you're just like the average kid and you kind of grew up in the same way I did, that edgelord phase kind of it gives you a reason to laugh. It gives you a reason to find horrible shit going on in your own life funny because it's happening to other people and it's against other people. And it's weird, but something that like people do nowadays, and maybe they did this before, maybe I was just too young to see it and I was in that edgelord phase so I couldn't see it. But like something that people don't admit is that they had this phase, or they had said and done things. If you saw that little like blink of light, it freaked me out for a second, but that's my phone on my bed. Um but like something that people won't admit is that they had this edgelord phase, or just like said anything horrible at all in their life. And I'm sure there's those weird like Puritan people that were raised by helicopter parents who are like, I don't know, the most like, I don't know, politically correct family on the planet. But like that's just not how most of us, at least in my perception, from what I've seen both from the internet, from my outside experience and my personal experience, most of us don't grow up that way. Um but like admitting that on the internet seems to be like the craziest thing you could do known to man. Like never ever say that you've ever said anything bad in your whole life. It's like I feel that's a little um what's the word? I don't know, I just feel it's not real. That's just, you're not like acting like a human. The whole point of this stupid fucking experience that we call being human is that we grow. It's growing up. You grow up, you fucking, even if you grow up late like I did, like, or grow up late. I mean like comedic wise. I had to grow up a little early because of the shit that I was put through. But and I still let it affect me to this day, but that's a conversation with my therapist. Um but like part of this experience is growing up. And even if your comedy in that edgelord phase lasts a little longer than usual, once you hit a certain age, you should at some point realize, oh, yeah, I'm making the same fucking jokes that a 14-year-old would make, and I'm having the same opinions as a 14-year-old that's been, duped by this dumb society that just loves hatred for some reason. It feeds off of it. I mean, I don't want to get into, politics and capitalism, but basically how it works. But like this shit that feeds into hatred, you're just feeding it more, but as a fully fucking grown adult. Like, how are you gonna be above the age of 18 and still be making the same fucking jokes, still find the same shit funny, still, like, well, I'm not gonna talk about interest because, I mean, I'm still interested in FNAF and I've been interested in that since I was like 12. So, but like, even like if your interests in themselves are like bad, or, not politically correct or whatever the fuck you want to call it, just not great to have as like a human being, like iFunny users. but but if it's like that, like really take a fucking deep look at yourself in the mirror and think like, how did I get here? Like why am I letting myself like talk like I'm a 14-year-old? I'm a fully fucking grown adult. I should get my shit together. Stop acting like a fucking loser, like, again, 14, 15-year-old. And lock the fuck in. Because, in my opinion, there's a lot more important shit to worry about, whether it's, like, yourself or the world around you, or, economically, or emotionally, getting therapy and shit. Like, there's a lot more important shit than your dumbass 14-year-old humor. Like, if that's what gets you by when you're 20, 21, up until even like 25, if you're above the age of 20, in my opinion, you're still making the same jokes and laughing at the same shit that you were at 14. I think, I mean, like, I'm one to talk, but like, I think there's something a little wrong with your brain. Um, and it's this weird concept of like people that just don't grow up. Like, And I'm not saying this in like one of those mopey like loser like can't have fun motherfuckers that, my dad seems to claim I am. Um it's not in the way like, "Oh, you just can't take a joke. You can't have fun. Nothing's fun to you." There are so many things that are fun to me, and joking about, sexualities and races and you know, in discriminatory ways, it's just, not my bag anymore. I guess I lost my funny after I stopped hating for no reason and started liking human beings um just as they come. But I don't know, like I could go into a whole entire different rant about, like systematic oppression and big shit that I don't even fully understand. Um like that shit that affects our humor and affects the way we think and talk, down to like, when we're 14 or even 6. Um but like I don't care. I don't care enough to go into that conversation. Um that's for the people who are smarter than me to get into, and it's just, that's also not my bag. My bag is trying to, improve my own sense of self-worth, and it seems that a lot of people don't share that sentiment. People just do not give a fuck about themselves. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, cuz I don't want to be that weirdo that's like, "Oh, I still like gore to this day." But like, you know, I've always loved like the ARGs, even when I was a kid watching fucking like Happy Tree Friends and laughing my ass off. Um, I've always personally found gore to, be a potential like comedic like uh tool, even though the prospect of gore is, not a very funny thing. Like usually when gore is portrayed, it's supposed to be in a scary light, but there's sometimes where it's done in such a silly way that it just makes me chuckle. Um, but like, normal people would look at like the gory shit today and be like, "Oh, I don't want to watch anything that's on fucking TV." And respectfully, love you to death, but like, grow up. I don't. It's not like, "Oh, I like gore. I have more taste than you." But it's like, I don't know, man. If you can't handle seeing like a dead body of some sort, like a fake dead body, I'm not talking about like literally somebody shot, like in Alec Baldwin in this, Alec Baldwin someone in the studio, like genuinely like a fake a corpse on a screen, like gore in any slight fashion. And I'm not talking like the Smile movie or whatever. That in my opinion is like silly gore. But um yeah, I don't know. I just don't think the outside world is for you. That's a whole different kind of not growing up. But like it's the people like that and the people who also on the other like side of the coin who make like horrible like references to, I don't know, like George Floyd jokes. Like what the fuck? You're not a human being if you're joking about shit like that. Like that whole AI. There was this like weird point in time on TikTok where like there was this weird point in time where TikTok was like, obviously crazing over AI. At first, it was like a good thing. They were like, "Oh my god, this AI shit's so cool." When like it was like Dolly or whatever the fuck it was called, like that silly AI shit, and then AI genuinely started getting funded by like mega corporations, and being and certain companies being bought out by other bigger companies, and then becoming bigger like institutions, and then rotting the water in people's homes, but that's a whole nother conversation. But like once there was a point in between where we are now and where we were, where people were getting mad at AI, but instead of getting mad in a way that's actually productive and actually, I don't know, maybe it's not too dissimilar to like other movements and other points in time and other historical stuff, but like people don't get mad in the right direction or try to get mad in a more useful way. They try to, for whatever reason, make up slurs against robots, which is the dumbest fucking, like, first of all, the dumbest like shit on the planet. I mean, like the concept of having to make up a funny slur in general is kind of silly. Because slurs are awful. Obviously, I feel like everybody should have that opinion, and if you don't, then you're not somebody I want to be near. Um, but like, not only is that the dumbest shit on the planet that you feel as though you need to make up a slur for a robot, but the slurs that they were making up were mostly based off of like racial slurs. Like again, like I just brought up, like if you're joking about George Floyd, people were saying George Droid. Like how little of a personality and how little of a human soul do you have in your body and your brain to come up with some dumb shit like that and think it's funny? Like I don't know. These people just never grew up. They stay in that 14-year-old mindset where they're fake, like they're like fake into this movement of like anti AI or anti blah blah blah. And then they sit there and they go, "Oh, you know what? Since I'm not really into anti AI, I just want to make a quick buck off of it or a little bit of internet cookies or internet points and updoots. I'm gonna make up a slur against robots and pretend like I'm anti AI, even though, I mean, I'm sure that there's a small group of people who genuinely were anti AI and are doing steps to not only try to like help people understand that AI is bad, but also getting rid of it in their own livelihood. That still, for whatever reason, use these like anti AI racial slurs, which I don't get. I know that like, you know, a lot of the language that's built into our country in our language, in the English language, is built off of, you know, white supremacist values, all that shit. Again, I'm not getting too deep into it, but like it's just a weird concept. Like the fact that like, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, I could have been making a video and I probably back then would have found that funny too, but you know, because people apparently are not allowed to grow from their mistakes and grow up. If you said that out loud as like a huge YouTuber, that you would have found that funny 5 years ago, people would be like, "You should have never found that funny in your entire life." It's like, dog, yeah, like if they were raised well, but most people are not, you know, most people probably would have found that shit funny when they were 14 too. I hate to break it to you. Let a person grow up. That's why it's like that gets into the territory of what I think I talked about this on the episode previous of yesterday's, where I was talking about don't idolize people, because no matter how much faith you put in a human being, they can only be as perfect as you let them be. Um, cause, you know, I wish my favorite singers, artists, I wish my favorite YouTubers could be completely perfect, but they're not. You can get very close and you can have you can have an individual be very like near this concept of perfect in your own head, but then they do something minor or major that just like fucks up your perception a little, and then suddenly your whole brain breaks because, oh my, the person I was idolizing is not as perfect as I once thought. And it's like, stop. Don't idolize these people. Yeah, they're gonna say that I'm into feminist movements, or I'm into the Black Lives Matter movement, or I'm into anti AI, or I'm into blah blah blah. But then one of their opinions is gonna be against one of those opinions. And it's like, yeah, they should know better. And if they do know better and they are a normal human being, they'll see those things and, like, go to the right human empathetic perspective eventually if they're a normal person. But there's people in places of, like, power that, aren't perfect. Like, they're the biggest expression for what you as a human want and, like, and need and strive for. But they're gonna say something that's gonna, like, be a little bullshit, or it's like, why would you say that? There was no point in you saying that. You were doing so well. You were getting the point across so well. You were our biggest mouthpiece, and then you went and said some bullshit about, I don't know, some foreign nation. It's like, why would you do that? Why? But either way, these people who are the same people um who still think, like, George Droid jokes are hilarious even to this day, are the same kind of people who like to pretend that they're, like, on the right side of things. They're on the right side of history. Like, dog, whether you want to believe in a god, multiple gods, a form of, like, uh any sort of uh retribution, I don't know what to really call it, but no matter what you believe in religiously or just, like, spiritually in general, whatever, and if you don't believe in that, you're just a piece of shit, and your gods, or, your next life is going to treat you like a piece of shit because you are. um but, like, the people act like they're morally righteous because they try to help other people in simple ways, when most of the time they're just out for themselves. And they prove that by, doing shit that is genuinely harmful to others and themselves without even realizing it. It's just ignorance. I'm not going to lie. Ignorance is a huge reason as to why the people that I'm talking about, like, that don't grow up from these edgelord phases, they never grow up. They stay saying the stupid stuff. They're just ignorant. And it's unfortunate to see, because you can't really blame them. If they're like a child, you can't blame that. If they're a child, you can't really blame them, because that's just the shit that they've been around. And if you try to educate a child on, moral values and stuff that, like, is adjacent to that, they're probably not going to listen to you because you're a stranger on the fucking internet. And if any child has any sense of stranger danger, they're probably going to think that you're wrong in what you're thinking. So it really is up to the parent to, like, teach them what's wrong and what's right. But, parents these days, and even back then, are not exactly the greatest at raising children. um but no, I will say I'm kind of done on this point, on these 3 points, but, like, I guess as my final message for this episode is, I do regret a lot of the things that I've done and a lot of the things that I've said. Um I can't really do much about it because I've said and done them. And I'm sure there's probably recordings that, people can get through the Wayback Machine and shit like that, of me saying and doing horrible shit. And I do apologize for that. But I do see it as an, unfortunate circumstance of just growing up. I'm a grown person. I've definitely grown way past. I mean, even again, like a year ago, I was not the greatest person ever either. Like I've done some, bad shit over my lifetime, and there will probably be a time where I'll accidentally say or do something bad without thinking, but at least my position now is a position of, you know, I've grown into understanding empathy and human emotions and placing them before every action that I do and everything that I say, instead of, what I used to do before, which is not really think about it and just be ignorant and just say horrible shit and do horrible shit. So I am very apologetic of the way I used to be, but I think moving forward in my life, I will prove myself to be a slightly better human. I hope at the very least slightly better, because I don't even like thinking about the stuff that I've said before. Um, but I hope that, time proves myself right, and I hope that, you know, I can truly start to become someone that I would look up to when I was a kid. Like if I saw me as like, a 22-year-old or a 23-year-old, whether I'm on the internet or just, someone passing by, if I saw me, I'd be like, that dude's cool. I wish I was like him. And I know that's a form of like, you can't go back, you can't change the things, you can't change the past and stuff like that. And, I don't think I would. I don't, if my past and what I've done previously has led me to where I am right now in the way I feel, I don't think I would change my past as bad as it was. Um because at least today and here and where I am now is a way better person than I was before. And there's nothing I can do to change what I've done before. So, I don't know. I've just learned to accept like the bit I keep bringing up, the Tim Robinson bit. I love it so much cuz I think about it all the time. It's like, I used to be a piece of shit. Does this baby know I used to be a piece of shit? But no, I want to be and represent someone that I wish that I was when I was younger. And I hope that I get to fully realize that and fully, um, fully become that type of person. And I don't know. On that bittersweet note, I think I'm gonna end this in a second. I see my phone keeps fucking blowing up. I'm assuming my lovely girlfriend keeps messaging me, worried about me, uh, which I appreciate. I love her so much. She's literally the best. I genuinely don't think I could ever ask for anyone better in my entire life. Like, she has opened my eyes to. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. She's like half the reason I am the person I am today, because I want to be a better person for her and for myself. That's why I do this, is for myself. But the reason I've progressed so much is because I realized how much of an insecure loser and a piece of shit I was. A piece of shit. Um, Sorry, I just started thinking about like different episodes of Tim Robinson. What was I saying? Oh, right. No, I do it. I try to become someone who I would look up to when I was a kid, so that I could have a baddie girlfriend. No, no, but I want to be a half decent human being, so that not only little me could be proud of me, but also my girlfriend praises me and calls me a good boy. And on that note, I think that's about done the recording.